The Kershaw Leek has a lot of history with Kershaw. I won't go into it too much other than to say that it has been around for a long time. And as such, generally speaking, when you have a knife that's been around a while, you'll be able to find it in a lot of different configurations. So that's one of the good things you have about the Leek is there are plenty, there are plenty of configurations to choose from the knife steel to the design of the handle, all different kinds of stuff. So let's jump right into this. This is kind of what they call a modified drop point on the blade, but it's almost a modified Wharncliffe, I guess you could say too. I mean, you can see you've got just a little bit of belly there, not a whole lot. And I've actually come to really like this design. I haven't really used too many Wharncliffe styles. Well, again, this isn't a true Wharncliffe. It's pretty similar there, and it's kind of fun. What it does is look at this tip on this thing. This tip is amazingly fine. Now, depending on what you're doing with your knife, that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, because it is going to, it might be able to break easy. So you're gonna have to be careful with this tip. That being said, I found a lot of nice uses for such a fine tip that other tips may not work as well. The blade overall is 3 inches. It is a 14C28N. And again, there's a variety of different stills that you can find this blade in. But for you guys that like the smaller size EDCs, you might like that for the 3 inches. And one thing that's really cool about this blade, it is wicked sharp. In fact, let me grab some paper here. To give you an idea of how sharp this is and staying out of gel, that's a good thing for all of us, right? This thing just cuts through this paper like butter. You can see it's just really, really nice. So I've come to really like the blade on this, given the knowledge that you're gonna have to be careful with the tip because it's going to be very fine. It does come in handy. Not a full flat ground there, you can see it's hollow ground, but overall I really like the blade shape on it. The deployment on the blade is the speed safe that Kershaw has, works very well. The one thing I noticed though about the centering of the blade, if this bugs you at all, is it's not very good. In fact, I can't get it centered because if I tighten it down anymore, it gets to the point where I can't even deploy the blade. Another thing while I'm talking about the screws here, what I've noticed is over time, all these 3 screws and the pivot screw all came loose. So I had to tighten them back down. When I get a chance, what I'm gonna have to do is add some blue Loctite to them to keep them in place. Lockup on this is pretty good. Very, very little movement, side to side, back and forth, pretty much the same thing, really solid. The one thing I did notice with this, and the only reason I tried, is when I got my Kershaw Blur, if you go and watch my review video on that, I was taking it and just using the back of it real quick to knock something, to try and get something loose, and I was hitting it about this hard, and the blade folded. So the lockup on it was not very good. Now, I sent that to Kershaw to have it fixed, got it back, and it's excellent now. I don't have any complaints about it. So, out of curiosity, I did try the, I don't want to call it a spine whack test, because honestly, I'm not really big into spine whack tests. But because the Blur took so little effort to dislodge the blade, I tried it on this one. Well, this one, it does take a little more effort. It will do the same thing, but it doesn't do it quite as easy. And honestly, I'm not as concerned with it in this blade because of the roll that I see it in. The roll that I really see this blade in is pure EDC. Can it be used as a self-defense blade? Well, a pencil can be used as a self-defense item. So yes, it could be, but that's not why I would carry it. I would carry this purely for EDC purposes. The pocket clip on this is you've got a nice long pocket clip, and it's only on the right side, tip up or tip down carry. You won't get it on the left side. But what you can see on this side is if you're gonna carry tip up, which I prefer, you've got a lot of blades sticking out. And to be quite honest with you, it's kind of annoying. So it might be advisable to carry it this way. It will bury a lot deeper in your pocket. I do carry it with tip up just to keep the consistency with my other blades. But once again, it is kind of annoying because of the amount that sticks out of there. While we're down on this end, this has a safety on the blade, and how that works is once it's folded in this configuration, all you do is you take this and you move it forward. It'll take this little black bar here and put it over the back of the blade, the spine of the tip, and then you won't be able to deploy the blade. Now, I'm not a big fan of that, so to easily bypass that, which is kind of nice in this configuration, is I just crank this screw down. I just tightened it, and that's why I'm not moving it for you, because it's not moving. And actually what I found is by not tightening it down, I did it on purpose to see what would happen. The blade one has never deployed accidentally, but this piece would move over, and when I'd go to deploy the blade, it got caught on there and I'd have to take the safety off. Just a little annoying. I mean, you could tighten that down to however you wanted and fix that, but to me on this, I don't know, I just don't think it's necessary. The ergos on this blade, I mean, for a nice EDC blade, overall pretty good. It is slick, so you're not going to get a lot of high traction on it, but again, for the intended use of this being EDC, it's not going to bug me much. It does have some jimping up here that's pretty much useless, other than looks. It doesn't really lock in or anything. And the handle on this one, I love the coloration. It's a olive color and anodized 6061 T6 aluminum, and I just really like the coloration of this blade. Again, going back to the fact that you can get so many different styles of the Leek is kind of fun. The weight on this blade, a very nice 3 ounces for the overall weight. So overall, you know, if I were to buy one knife for an EDC, this would not be that knife. This is a knife that if you're kind of a knife collector, I don't know if I consider myself a knife collector. I like to buy knives. But again, for one EDC blade, if I'm going to buy just one, this certainly wouldn't be it. This is a fun blade to put into the rotation, to have on hand, but not a main EDC blade of mine. Overall, do I like this knife? Yes, I do. Understanding some of its drawbacks, that being this long end that sticks out when you want to do a tip-up carry. And the tip, well, that's a drawback and it's a bonus, I think, depending on how you use your blades. I come to like it, but understanding that it can't be hard used. And this particular blade isn't the most solid lockup, so I have to understand that going into it. In fact, this one I might experiment a little bit and take it apart and see if I can't grind that to fix it myself, because I just don't want to send this one back, and I'm not that concerned with it on this type of blade being what I'm going to use it for. So there is my review of the Leek, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you guys later.